The tragedy of Oedipus the King was rated by Aristotle as the greatest tragedy ever written. It is the first of the Theban cycle composed by the great Greek tragedian Sophocles. The other plays are Oedipus, Colonus, and Antigone, which both tell the story of what occurred after King Oedipus was banished from Thebes. The story of Oedipus the King began many years after Oedipus set foot at Thebes, married to Jocasta, with 4 children: Antigone, Ismene, Polynices, and Eteocles. Because a plague had struck Thebes, Oedipus, the wisest of all men, was asked by the priest to find solutions. When his brother-in-law Creon consulted the oracle of Delphi, it was revealed that the only way to stop the plague was to kill the murderer of the former king Laius. Oedipus swore to find and execute the murderer through the help of the blind prophet Tiresias. But the prophet refused to reveal the painful truth that it was Oedipus himself, unknowingly, who killed King Laius. This happened a long time ago at a crossroad when Oedipus was a young man. It was disclosed in the story that he was the child of Jocasta and Laius, who was left in the open field to die to prevent the prophecy that it would be their child who would be the cause of the king's death. When Jocasta discovered that Oedipus was her son, she hanged herself while Oedipus gorged out of his eyes. Blind and bloody, Oedipus was sent out of Thebes by Creon.
In the front of the palace of Oedipus at Thebes, to the right stands the priest with a crowd of children. He emerged from the central door. A crowd of suppliants of all ages are waiting by the altar, in front and on the steps of the palace, among them the priest. After Oedipus comes out, the suppliants crying move towards him holding a prayer and their olive branches, and become still. Again has he begun to speak.
Children, young sons and daughters of old Cadmus, why are you sitting with your suppliants? This sun is at its down and burden of everything surrounding. I should be hearing this from the messenger, not for thyself. I, Oedipus, known as the Great.
You're old and wise. Otherwise they are. There's nothing to fear. Get the help of their pities, and I'll give you what you need.
O Oedipus, the ruler of my country, seeing the ages, some of us, and wishing for the good, among the young and I, the priest of Zeus, sitting anywhere suppliants garland and crown, thou seeing our place with grief and pure burden, maybe this what is happening to us, is part of what our nation will face. Don't look down, O my King Oedipus. We, with God, will bow down on what things you'll do for us. The greatest man who saved us, freed us from the Sphinx. The guidance of the Lord will just be there and lift us. He gave you the will to save our union. Go, move, and raise our city. We know that you really can, and we're here to let you hear the word of God.
Children, I pity you. You've arrived brimming with ideas yearning, but I was well aware of the narrative before you revealed it. I know you're all sick, but none of you, sick as you are as sick as I am. Your many sorrows each have a limited extent and only affect one of you. At the same time, my spirit groans for the city, myself, and you. You have not awoken me like a man from slumber. Know that I have shed many tears over this, wandered many paths in my thoughts, but as far as I could tell, there was only one treatment which I chose. I dispatched Minosius' son, Creon, Jocastus' brother, to Apollo's Pythian temple to see what act or word I could use to preserve the city. I am keeping track of the days.
Thank you for your kind words. Your steward's Creon's moment is coming, as suggested by the signal.
His smile is captivating. May snooze too. Be bright for us and provide the security, O Holy Lord Apollo.
It is happy news, I think, for else his head would not be crowned with sprigs of fruitful laurel.
He's inside, Hale, so we'll find out soon. What is the word you bring us from God, Lord Crane, my good brother?
A good word for things that are difficult to tolerate. I count entire good fortune if everything turns out nicely in the end.
What do you mean? What have you said so far leaves me uncertain, whether to trust or fear.
If you will hear my news before these others, I am ready to speak, or else to go within.
Speak ye to all. The grief I bear it more for this than for my hearing.
So that's what I tell you about what I hear for God. In a simple words, King Phobos told us to drive out pollution for our land. Pollution that had become ingrained in the ground. Force it out, not cherish it, urge God until it was past remedy.
What is the rite of purification? How should it be done?
By banishing a man, or expiation of blood by blood, since it is murdered guilt which holds our city in this destroying storm.
Who is this man whose fate the god pronounces?
Lord, before you pilot that state, we had a king called us Laius.
I know of him by hearsay, but I've not seen him.
The god command clearly, let someone punish with force these dead man's murderers.
Where are they in the world? Where will the trace of this old crime can be found? It would be hard to guess where.
The clue in is this land, that which is sought, is found, the unhid things escape, so said the god.
Was it at home? Or in the country that death came upon him? Or in another country traveling?
He went, he said himself, up on an embassy, but never returned when he set out from home.
Was there no messenger? No fellow traveler who knew what happened? Such a one might tell something of use.
All killed save one. He fled in terror, and he could tell us nothing in clear terms of what he knows nothing, but one thing only.
What was it? If we could even find a slim beginning in which to hope, we might discover much.
Said the robbers they encountered were many, and the hands that did the murders were many. It was no man's single power.
How could a robber date a deed like this, were he not helped with money from the city, money and treachery?
But indeed was thought, but Laius was dead, and in our trouble, where was none to help.
What troubles was so great to hinder you inquiring out the murder of your king?
The reading springs induce us to neglect mysterious crimes and rather seek for solution to troubles at our feet.
I'm going to bring this up again. This concern for the dead was appropriately taken by King Phobos, and it was similarly appropriately taken by you. And you will recognize me an ally, a champion of my country and God,
as is only right. For when I remove contamination from the earth, I will not act in the interests of a faraway friend, but in my own. Whoever killed the monarch may well desire to remove me with his murderous hand. Hence, by assisting the dead king, I am assisting myself. Take your suppliant bows, children, and leave the altars now. Call a meeting for assembly and tell them I'll take care of everything. Make the final decision, whether we flourish or languish in obscurity.
Rise, children. It was this we came to seek, which of himself the king now offers us. May Phoebus, who gave us the oracle, comes to our rescue and stay the plague.
What is God's lovely uttered message from Pytho's golden-crested shrine that has arrived in regal Thebes? O Delian healer, I am stretched in the rack of doubt, and panic and trembling grip my heart, and I worship full of fears for what calamity you may bring to pass, new or renewed in the revolving years. Speak to me, child of golden hope, everlasting voice. First I call on you, Athene, Zeus' deathless daughter, and Artemis, earth upholder, who sits amid the marketplace in the throne which men call fame, and Phobos, the far shooter, three averters of fate to return to us now. If ever before, when disaster rushed upon the state, you drove destruction's flame away from our land. Our sufferings are unfathomable. All the ship's timbers are rotten. Thought is no weapon for driving the disease away. No children are growing up in this fabled kingdom, and no women are experiencing the pains of childbirth. You might see them flying together, like birds in the wind, faster than unmastered fire, hurtling away to the western God's coast. The city dies as a result of the uncounted deaths of its citizens. Unpitied children lie dead on the naked earth, spreading death's contagion, and gray-haired mothers and wives stand at the altar's edge, suppliant moaning. The hymn to the healing God resounds, but the wailing voices are drowned out. Grant us glad-faced rescue from this our tribulations, O glorious daughter of Zeus. Our battle is not with brazen shields, but with the war god, a violent god who burns us. Ask that he turn on a racing path rearward out of our country's borders to the huge palace of Amphitrite, or where the waves of the Thracian sea deny the foreigner's safe port. Smite the war god, Father Zeus, beneath your thunderbolt, since you are the Lord of the lightning that carries fire. I beg your unconquered arrow shafts, winged by the golden-corded bow, Lycian king, to be at our side for assistance, and the gleaming torches of Artemis, with which she scars the Lycian hills, and I call on the god with the gold turban, who gave his name to our country, the Bacchic god with the wind-flushed face, Evian one, who travel with the Maenad company. Combat the god who burns us with your torch of pine, for the god that is our enemy is a god dishonored among the gods.
As Oedipus knew that Laius was murdered and his murderer will be the key to ending the plague of the town, the search for Laius's murderer is up and Oedipus keeps on knowing who it is.
Forward, Short. If you will listen to my words and accept them and combat the plague, you will discover strength and lighter weight. Listen to me. Everything I say to you is from the perspective of someone unfamiliar with both the tale and the deed. Because if I were alone and tracing that route without a clue, I wouldn't get very far. But now, since all has been completed, and I have become a citizen among you citizens, I declare to all the men of Thebes, who among you knows the murderer by whose hand Laius, son of Labdacus, died? I compel him to tell me everything, even though he dreads taking the responsibility on his head. He shall get no harsh penalty, but he shall depart this nation uninjured. Allow him to speak the truth, even if he knows the killer is someone else, a foreigner. I'll pay him and be thankful in return. But if you keep silent, if some of you shield a guilty friend, if some of you reject my words, then hear what I'll do. I forbid that man, whoever he is, to enter my land, where I hold sovereignty and throne, and I forbid anyone to welcome him, cry him greeting, make him a share in sacrifice or offering to the gods, or give him water to wash his hands. As the oracle of Phythos God has now announced me, he is our defilement, and I command everyone to expel him out of their houses. As a result, I stand as an advocate of both God and the man who died. Upon the killer, I issue this curse, whether he is a single man or a group of them. May he wear out his life in misery to miserable doom. If he lives in my heart with my knowledge, I beg that I become cursed as well. I task you with completing all of this for me, for God, and for this country of ours that has been ravaged and polluted by the God who has abandoned us. Even if it were not a matter of God's command, it would not be proper for you to leave it unpurified. Because a decent man and a king have died. Look for it. Because I now occupy his post, have his bed and wife, and would have common children if his family had not been unfortunate. Because of all these things, I fight in his behalf as if he were my father. I will use all means at my disposal to apprehend the killer of Laius, son of Lovdacus, and son of Polydorus, as well as Cadmus and Agenor. Those who refuse to obey me, may the gods provide them neither crops nor offspring from the earth they plow. May they be consumed by a destiny similar to this, or even worse. May justice be your ally, and all the gods live with you, blessing you now and forever. For those who these words delight, the other Thebans.
As you have held me to my oath, I speak. I neither kill the king, nor can declare the killer. But since Phobos set the quest, it is his part to tell who the man is.
Right. But to put compulsion on the gods against their will? No man can do that.
May I then say what I think second best?
If there's a third best, too, spare not to tell.
I know that what the Lord Teratius sees is most often what Lord Apollo sees. If you should inquire of this from him, you might find out most clearly.
Even in this, my actions have not been sluggard on Crane's word. I have sent 2 messengers And why the prophet is not here already, I have been wondering.
His skill apart there is besides only an old faint story.
What is it? I look at every story.
It was said that he was killed by certain wayfarers.
I heard that, too. But no one saw the killer.
Yet if he has a share of fear at all, his courage will not stand firm. Hear your curse.
The man who, in the doing, did not shrink with fear nor word.
Here comes his prosecutor. Led by your men, the godly prophet comes in whom alone of mankind truth is native.
Heratius, you are knowledgeable in all things, both teachable and unteachable things, of the heaven and earth-grieving things. You may not have eyes, but you are aware of the epidemic that has devastated our city. Only in you, my lord, do we find a champion. You are the only one who can say this. Perhaps you haven't heard the messengers, but Phobos responded with an oracle, saying that we would be rid of the plague only when we learned the identities of those who murdered King Laius and killed or expelled them from our nation. Save yourself and your city. Save me. Discharge the debt of our filth that falls on us because of this dead man. We are on your hands. Pains are most nobly taken to help another when you have means and power.
Alas, how terrible is wisdom when it brings no profit to the wise man. This I knew well but had forgotten it. Else I would not have come here.
What is this? How sad you are now you've come.
Let me go home. It will be easiest for us both to bear our several destinies to the end if you will follow my advice.
You'd rob us of this gift of prophecy? You talk as one who had no care for law, nor love for thieves who reared you.
Yes, but I see that even your own words miss the mark. Therefore, I must fear for mine.
For God's sake, if you know of anything, do not turn from us. All of us kneel to you. All of us here, your suppliants.
All you here know nothing. I will not bring to the light of my day my troubles. Mine rather than call them yours.
What do you mean? You know of something, but you refuse to speak. Would you betray us and destroy the city?
I will not bring this pain upon us both, neither on you nor on myself. Why is it you question me and waste your labor? I will tell you nothing.
You would provoke a stone? Tell us, you villain. Tell us, and do not stand there quietly unmoved and balking at the issue.
You blame my temper, but you do not see your own that lives within you. It is me you chide.
Who would not feel this temper rise at words like this with which you shame our city?
Of themselves, things will come, although I hide them and breathe no word for them.
Since they will come, tell them to me.
I will say nothing further against this answer. Let your temper rage as wildly as you will.
Indeed, I am so angry I shall not hold back a jot of what I think. For I would have known I think you were complotter of the deed and doer of the deed, save in so far as for the actual killing. Had you had eyes, I would have said alone you murdered him.
Yes, then I warn you faithfully to keep the letter of your proclamation, and from this day forth to speak no word of greeting to these nor me. You are the land's pollution.
How shameless you start up this taunt. How do you think you will escape?
I have escaped. The truth is, what I cherish, and that's my strength.
And who has taught you the truth? Not your profession, surely.
You have taught me, for you have made me speak against my will.
Speak what? Tell me again, that I may learn it better.
Did you not understand before, or would you provoke me into speaking?
I didn't grasp it. Not so called known. Say it again.
I said, you are a murderer of the king whose murderer you seek.
But twice you shall say calumnies like this, and stay unpunished.
Shall I say more to tempt your anger more?
As much as you desire. It will be said in vain.
I said, with those you love, best you live in foul shame, unconsciously, and do not see where you are in a calamity.
Do you imagine you can always talk like this? And live to laugh at it hereafter?
Yes, if the truth has anything of strength.
It has. But not for you. It has no strength for you because you are blind in mind and ears as well as in your eyes.
You are a poor wretch, to taunt me with the very insults which everyone soon will heap upon yourself.
Your life is one long night, so that you cannot hurt me or any other who sees that light.
It is not fate that I should be your ruin. Apollo is enough. He cares to work this out.
Was this your design? Or Crane's?
Crayon is no hurt to you, but you are yourself.
For the creation of an envied life, wealth, sovereignty, and talent outmatching skill. If my body create a friend from this devoted, thus covertly attacks me, quietly wishes to push me out, and secretly suborns this juggling, trick creating quack, this crafty beggar with an only eye, great stores of envy will fill your treasure chests for his benefit, but lack of expertise. Tell me, Teratius, where have you seen plainly with your prophetic eyes? Did you utter words of rescue to your country's population with the dark singer, the Sphinx, came in town? Nonetheless, the solution to the conundrum was not found by luck. It was a prophet's responsibility, and you lack any gift of prophecy from birds or any other god to extract a word of wisdom. But I, Oedipus, who knew nothing, came up and put a stop to her. I was able to answer the problem entirely on my own. My wisdom didn't come from birds. And now, you're threatening to expel me because you believe you will be able to obtain a spot near Crane's throne? Both you and your partner, I believe you will be regretful for your attempt to give me away. And if I hadn't thought of you as an elderly man, some agony would have taught you that what was in your heart was treasury.
We look at this man's word and yours, my king, and we find both have spoken them in anger. We need no angry words, but only thought how we may best hit God's meaning for us.
If you're the king, at the very least, I have the right to defend myself against you. I am the master of it. I am not your slave but Loxias, and as a result, I will not make Crayon my patron, since you've accused me of being deafeningly defaming. You have eyes, but they do not see where you are in sin, where you dwell, or with whom you live. Are you aware of your parents' names? You are an adversary to your family in death. beneath the soil and in this life, and you are unaware of it. You will be driven forth by the little-footed, double-hitting curse from both your father and mother. With darkness in your eyes, you must leave this nation that has so a clear vision today. Would there be a location that will not shelter your weeping? A corner of city run that will not echo your screams? Soon, when you realize the secret of your marriage, which directed you to haven this home, haven no haven, after a fortunate voyage, you have no idea of the plethora of other sins that are forming a dismal equivalence between you and your children. So, my words and crayons are muddied with disdain. No one will be as drowned as you will be by misfortune.
Is it endurable that I should hear such words from him? Go, and a curse go with you. Quick, home with you. Out of my house, at once.
I would not have come either had you not called me.
I didn't know. Then you would talk like a fool. Or it would have been long before I called you.
I am a fool then, as it seems to you, but to the parents who have bred you, wise.
Parents! Stop! Who are they of all the world?
This day will show your birth and will destroy you.
How needlessly. You heard those. Darken everything.
But it's in riddle answering you are the strongest.
Yes. Taunt me where you will find me great.
It is this very lucky that has destroyed you.
Yes. Lead him off. So long as you are here, you will be a stumbling block and a vexation. Once gone, you will not trouble me again.
I've stated what I came here to say. Don't be afraid of your face. There's no way you can injure me. I tell you, King, this guy, this killer, he's here. He is a stranger among residents by name, but he'll soon be shown to be a real native Theban citizen, and he'll have no delight in discovery. Blindness for sight and beggary for wealth will be his trade, and he'll go on a voyage to a strange land. With a stick, he tap his path in front of him. He will be proved by a father and brother to his children in his own home, a son and a husband to the woman who gave birth to him, and a fellow sower in his father's bed with the same father who he murdered. Go inside and figure it out, and if you find me wrong, say I'm not gifted in prophecy.
Being speechless at that time, Oedipus could not believe that he is the murderer of the late King Laius, not until Tiresias has been proven it, until it reached that he is going to admit it to save the Thebes from the plague.
Who is the bloody-handed killer? The doer of acts that no one dares to name, declared by Delphi's prophetic rock. Now is the time for him to flee faster than Pegasus, since the child of Zeus jumps in arms upon him with fire and the lightning bolt. And the fates, who never miss, are very close on his heels. Lately, a voice could be heard plainly from cold Parnassus, urging each Theban to pursue down the mysterious killer. He lurks in the wild forests and tunnels like the mountain bull. His steps bring him far from the earth's navel, and he is unhappy and lonely, while its predictions, ever living, fly around his head. The augur has caused much concern. I do not agree with what was stated, yet I cannot refute it. I am at a loss for words. I am filled with dread. I have never heard of a conflict between the sons of Labdacus and Polybus, either in the present or in the past, that I might use as a proof in challenging Oedipus' famous name, seeking retribution for an undiscovered death in the Labdacus family. Truly Zeus and Apollo are wise, and inhuman things all-knowing, but among men there is no clear distinction between the prophet and me in terms of who is correct. One man may surpass another in wisdom, but I will never agree with those who criticize the monarch until I see his statements shown to be correct without a shadow of a doubt. The Sphinx appeared on him for the first time in visible form, and we all witnessed his knowledge, and he rescued the city in that test. As a result, my thinking will not condemn him.
Citizens, I've come because I've heard rumors that the king is accusing me of treason. That is something I am unable to take away from him. If he perceives that I have offended him in any way in these current difficulties, I do not want to live with the weight of such a scandal on my shoulders. The report harms me in the two ways, the most important of which that I'll be labeled a traitor to my cities, as well as a traitor to my friend and you.
Perhaps it was a sudden gust of anger that forced that insult from him, no judgment.
But did he say that it was a comprehensive 605 with schemes of mine that the seer told him lies?
Yes, he said that, but why? I do not know.
Were his eyes straight in his head? Was his mind right when he accused me in this fashion?
I do not know. I have no eyes to see what princes do. Here comes the king himself.
How did you end yourself here? Have you the audacity to enter my residence although you have been shown to be the killer of that guy and that you have publicly attempted highway robbery of my crown? For the love of God, tell me what you saw in me. What cowardice of ignorance prompted you to plot this against me? Did you think I wouldn't notice the cunning strategy that had snuck up on me? Or that if I did, I wouldn't try to stop it? Wasn't it foolish of you to try to track down royal authority without the support of your family or friends? Because the quest can only culminate in the capture of a crown if you have the right people or money on your side.
Do you know what you're doing? Will you listen to words to answer your and then pass judgment?
You're quick to speak, but I am slow to grasp you, for I have found you dangerous and my fault.
Well, hear what I shall say to that.
At least, don't tell me that you are not guilty.
If you think obstinacy without wisdom is valuable possession, you're wrong.
And you are wrong if you believe that one, a criminal, will not be punished only because he is my kinsman.
This is but just, but tells me then of what offense I'm guilty.
Did you or did you not urge me to send to this prophetic mumbler?
It did indeed, and I shall stand by what I told you.
How long ago is it since Laius
About Laius, I don't understand.
vanished, died, was murdered?
It is a long time to reckon.
Was this prophet in the profession then?
He was honored as highly as he is today.
At that time, did he say a word about me?
Never, at least not when I was near him.
You've never searched for the dead man?
We searched indeed, but never learned of anything.
Why did our wise old friend not say this then?
I don't know, and I will now nothing. I usually hold my tongue.
You know this much, and declare this much if you are loyal.
If I know, I'll not deny it.
He would not have said that I killed lives had he not met you first.
Whether he said this, but I demand that I should hear as much from you as you from me.
Then here, I'll not be proved the murderer.
Well, then, your marriage to my sister.
Yes, that I am not disposed to deny.
That I am not disposed to deny.
Yes, everything she wants, she has from me.
As thirdsman to you, I am rated as the equal of you too.
Yes, and it's there you've proved yourself a false friend.
Not if you think about it as I do. Consider it first if you believe anybody would want to dominate and do it rather than the rules and sleep soundly at night if the stakes were equal in both circumstances. I, for one, was not born with such a fervent desire to be a king, but rather to perform what kings do. It's the same for anybody who has mastered intelligence and self-control. As it stands today, all of the awards are mine, and I'm not afraid of them. But if I were the king, I'd have to accomplish a lot of things that went against to the grain. What could be nicer to me than painless power and secure authority than the tyrannical rules? I'm not yet enamored with other honors beside ones that come with money. Now, every man is my delight. Every guy greets me. Those who are suitors fall on me. Now, their success is dependent on my favor. Why should I give up all to win that? If my mind is sensible, it would not be a traitor. I am not reason lover by nature, and I would never join a plan. Demonstrate what I am saying. Visit Phaetus' oracle and inquire about the responses if they are as I state. For the reminders, if you find out I conspired with the seer and I murder me, not only by your vote, but by own. But don't accuse me of having an esoteric viewpoint without evidence to back it up. Counting your knaves as honestmen or honestmen as knaves. Is it something to do lightly? Throwing away from honest body is like the throwing away for your life, which a man values foremost. Will know everything with confidence over time. Time is sole true test of honest men. A honest day is enough time to know Raj.
His words are wise, king. If one fears to fall, those who are quick of temper are not safe.
When he that plots against me secretly moves quickly, I must quickly counterplot. If I wait taking no decisive measure, his business will be done, and mine be spoiled.
What do you want to do then? Punish me?
No, certainly kill you, not banish you.
I don't think you've your wits about you.
For my own interests, Yes,
But for mine, too, you should think equally.
you're a rogue.
Suppose you do not understand?
But yet I must be ruler.
Not if your rules badly.
Oh, city! City!
I do have something share in the city. Is it not yours alone?
Stop, my lords. Here, and in the nick of time I see Jocasta coming from the house. With their help lay the quarrel that now stirs you.
As time goes by, Oedipus and Crane still proves to each other that they are innocent and they are not the murderer of the past King Laius. Jocasta came by the signal of the chorus, while Oedipus and Crane still investigate and oppose each other accusations.
For shame! Why have you raised this foolish grabbing brawl? Are you not ashamed to air your private griefs when the country is sick? Go in, you, Oedipus, and you too, Creon. Into the house. Don't magnify your nothing troubles.
Sir Oedipus, your husband think he has a right to do terrible wrongs. He has but to choose between two terrors, banishing or killing me.
He's right, Jocasta. For him, I find him plotting with knavish tricks against my person.
That God may never bless me. May I die accursed if I have been guilty of one title of the charge you bring against me.
I beg you, Oedipus, trust him in this. Spare him for the sake of this, his oath to God. For my sake, and the sake of those who stand here.
Be gracious, be merciful, we beg you.
In what would you have me yield?
He has been no silly child in the past. He is strong in his oath now. Spare him.
Do you know what you ask?
Yes,
Tell me then.
he has been your friend before all men's eyes. Do not cast him away dishonored on an obscure conjecture.
I would have you know that this request of yours really requests my death or banishment.
May the sun god, king of gods, forbid. May I die without God's blessing, without friends' help, if I had any such thought. But my spirit is broken by my unhappiness for my wasting country, and this would but add troubles among ourselves to the other troubles.
Well, let me go then. I must die 10 times for it, or be sent out dishonored into exile. It is your lips that pray for him pity, not his. Wherever he is, I shall hate him.
I see you soak in yielding, and you're dangerous when you are out of temper. Natures like yours are justly heaviest for themselves to bear.
Leave me alone! Take yourself off, I tell you.
I'll go you, not knowing me, but they have, and they have, knowing my innocence.
Won't you take him inside, lady?
Yes, when I found out what was the matter.
There was misconceived suspicion of a story, and on the other side, the sting of injustice.
So, on both sides?
Yes,
What was the story?
I think it best, in the interests of the country, to leave it where it ended.
You see where you have ended. Straight of judgment, although you are, by softening my anger.
Tell me, my lord, I beg of you, what was it that roused your anger so?
Yes, I will tell you. I honor you more than I honor them. It was Crayon and the plots he led against me.
Tell me, if you can clearly tell the quarrel.
Crayon says that I'm the murderer of Laius.
Of his own knowledge or own information?
He sent this rascal prophet to me, since he keep his own mouth clean of any guilt.
Do not be concerned about this. Instead, listen to me and realize that humans have no role in the art of prophecy. I'll show you a quick example of it. It was fate that he should die a victim at the hands of his own son, a son to be born of lies and me. According to an oracle that came to Laios, I won't say it was Phobos an oracle, but it was from his servants, and it told him that it was fate that he should die a victim at the hands of his own son, a son to be born of lies and me. But as the tale goes, he, the king, was assassinated by foreign highway robbers at a point where three highways intersect. And for the son, King Laius pierced his ankles and set him out into pathless mountainside before 3 days had passed after his birth. So Apollo failed to fulfill his prophecy to the son, that he should murder his father. And Apollo also proved false to Laius, in that the thing he feared, death at the hands of his son, never happened. The oracles were so plain in this situation, both true and false. I say ignore them. Anything God discovers a need for, He effortlessly demonstrates to us.
Oh dear Jocasta, as I hear this from you, there comes upon me a wandering of the soul. I could run mad.
What trouble is it that you turn again and speak like this?
I thought I heard you said that Laius was killed at the crossroads.
Yes, that was how the story went, and still that word goes around.
Where's the place, Jocasta, where he was murdered?
This is the country, and the road splits there. One of two roads from Delphi, another comes from Dolia.
How long ago is this?
The news came to the city just before you became a king, and all men's eyes look to you. What is it, Oedipus, that's in your mind?
Oh, what have you designed, no Zeus, to do with me?
What is the thought that troubles your heart?
I'll tell you. If I find that his story is the same as yours, at least we will be clear of this guilt.
Why? What so particularly did you learn from my story?
You said that he spoke of highway robbers who killed Laius. Now, if he uses the same number, it was not I who killed him. One man cannot be the same as many. But if he speaks of a man traveling alone, then clearly the burden of the guilt inclines toward me.
Be sure, at least, that this was how he told the story. He cannot unsay it now, for everyone in the city heard it, not I alone. But Oedipus, even if he diverges from what he said, then he shall never prove that the murder of Laius squares rightly with the prophecy. For Lucius declared that the king should be killed by his own son, and that poor creature did not kill him surely, for he died himself first. So as far as prophecy goes, henceforward I shall not look to the right hand or left.
Right, but yet send someone for the peasant to bring him here. Do not neglect it.
I will send quickly. Now let me go indoors. I will do nothing except what pleases you.
Queen Jocasta and Oedipus have now a clearer insight of the mystery of King Laius's death. It just seems to be Oedipus or not, but Jocasta is still trying to figure that Oedipus is not Laius's murderer. As the story goes by, Jocasta and Oedipus figure out that the peasant witnesses what happened, wishing that it will finally solve the mystery.
May destiny ever find me pews in word, and deed prescribed by the laws that live on high. Laws begotten in the clear air of heaven, whose only father is Olympus. No mortal nature brought them to birth. No forgetfulness shall lull them to sleep, for God is great in them, and grows not old. Insolence breeds the tyrant, insolence if it is glutted with the surfeit, unseasonable, unprofitable, climbs to the rooftop and plunges sheer down to the ruin that must be,
and there its feet are no service. But I pray that God may never abolish the eager ambition that profits the state, for I shall never cease to hold the God as our protector. If a man walks with haughtiness of hand or word, and gives no heed to justice, and the shrines of God despises, may an evil doom smite him for his ill-starred pride of heart. If he reaps gains without justice and will not hold from impiety, and his fingers itch for untouchable things, when such things are done, what man shall contrive to shield his soul from the shafts of God? When such deeds are held in honor, why should they honor the gods in the dance? No longer the holy place. To the navel of the earth I'll go to worship, not to obey, not to Olympia, unless the oracles are proved to it, for all men's hands to point at. O Zeus, if you are rightly called the sovereign Lord, all-mastering, let this not escape you nor your ever-living power. The oracles concerning lies are old and dim, and men regard them not. Apollo is nowhere clear in honor. God's service perishes.
I got the idea, Prince of the nation, of going to the gods' temples and bearing in my hand garlands, and in case offerings, as you can see, for Oedipus become too excited in every situation, not speculating like a wise man about what will happen next from what has already happened, but always being at the mercy of the speaker. When he speak, it give me creeps. I can't help you with my advice. Therefore, I came as a suppliant to you, Lycian Apollo, who are closest to you. These are the symbol of my prayer, and here is what they mean to me. My prayer is for us to be delivered from the curse. Now when we look at him, we are all terrified. He is the captain of our ship, and he is terrified.
Might I learn from you, sirs, where's the house of Oedipus? Or best of all, if you know, where's the king himself?
This is his house, and he is within doors. This lady is his wife and mother of his children.
God bless you, lady, and God bless your household. God bless Oedipus' noble wife.
God bless you, sir, for your kind greeting. What do you want of us that you have come here? What have you to tell us?
Good news, lady. Good for your house and your husband.
What is your news? Who sent you to us?
I come from Corinth, and the news I will bring will give you pleasure. Perhaps a little pain too.
What is this news of double meaning?
The people of Ishmush will choose Oedipus to be their king. That is the rumor there.
Isn't their king still old Polybus?
No, he is in grave. That has got him.
Is that the truth? Is Oedipus' father dead?
May I die myself, if it be otherwise.
Be quick and run to the king with the news. O oracles of the gods, where are you now? It was from this man Oedipus fled, lest he should be his murderer, and now he is dead, in the course of nature, and not killed by Oedipus.
Dearest Jocasta, why have you sent for me?
Listen to this man, and when you hear, reflect what is the outcome of the holy oracles of the gods.
Who is he? What is his message for me?
He is from Corinth, and he tells us that your father, Polybus, is dead and gone.
What's this you say, sir? Tell me yourself.
Since this is the first matter you want clearly told, Polybus has gone down to death.
By treachery or sickness?
A small thing will put all bodies asleep.
So, he died of sickness. It seems, poor old man.
Yes, and of age, the long years he had measured.
O dear Jocasta, why should one look to the Pythian heart? Why should one look to the birds screaming overhead? They prophesied that I should kill my father, but he's dead and hidden deep in the earth. And I stand here who never laid hand on a spear against him, unless perhaps he died of longing for me, and thus I am his murderer. But they, the oracles, as they stand, he's taken them away with him. They're dead as he himself is, and worthless.
But I told you before now.
You did, but I was misled by my fear.
But surely I must fear my mother's bed.
Why should a man fear, since chance is all in all for him, and he can clearly foreknow nothing? Best to live lightly, as one can, unthinkingly. As to your mother's marriage bed, don't fear it. Before this, in dreams too, as well as oracles, many a man has slain with his own mother, but he to whom such things are nothing bears his life most easily. All that you say would be said perfectly if she were dead, but since she lives, I must still fear, although you talk so well, Jocasta.
Still in your father's dead, there's the light of comfort.
Grey light of comfort, but I fear the living.
Who is the woman that makes you afraid?
Merope, old man, Polybus' wife.
What about her frightens the queen, and you?
A terrible oracle, stranger from the gods.
Can it be told? Or does the sacred law forbid another to have knowledge of it?
Oh no! Once upon a time, Loxias said that I should lie with my own mother and take on my hands the blood of my own father. And so, for these long years, I've lived away from Corinth. It has been to my great happiness, but yet it's sweet to see the face of parents.
This has the fear which drove you out of Corinth?
Old man, I did not wish to kill my father.
Why should I not free you from this fear, sir? Since I have come to you in all goodwill.
You would not find me thankless if you did.
Why? It was just for this. I bought you the news to earn your things when you had come safe home.
No, I will never come near my parents.
Son, it's very plain you don't know what you are doing.
What do you mean, old man? For God's sake, tell me.
If your homecoming is checked by fears like this,
Yes, I'm afraid that Phobos may prove right.
the murder and the incest,
Yes, old man. That is my constant terror.
do you know that all of your fears are empty?
How is that, if they are father and mother and I their son?
Because Polybus was no kin to you in blood.
What? Was not Polybus my father?
No more than I, but just so much.
How can my father be my father as much as one that's nothing to me?
Neither he nor I begat you.
Why then did he call me son?
A gift he took you from these hands of mine.
Did he love so much what he took from another's hand?
His childless has before persuaded him.
Was I a child you brought or found when I was given to him?
On Cicerone lopes in the twisting tickets you were found.
And why are you a traveler in those parts?
I was in charge of mountain flocks.
You are a shepherd, a hireling vagrant.
Yes, but at least of that time, the man just saved your life, son.
What ailed me when you took me in your arms?
In that your ankles should be witness.
Why do you speak of that old pain?
I lose you in the tendons of your feet, were pierced and fattered.
My swaddling clothes brought me a rare disgrace.
so that from this you're called your present name.
Was this my father's doing? Or my mother's? For God's sake, tell me.
I don't know, but he who gave you to me, he has more knowledge than I.
You yourself didn't find me then? You took me from someone else?
Yes, from another shepherd.
Who is he? Do you know him well enough to tell?
He was called Liusman.
You mean the king who reigned here in the old days?
Yes, he was that man's shepherd.
Is he alive still? So that I could see him.
You, who live here, would know best.
Do any of you here know of this shepherd whom he speaks about in town or in the fields? Tell me. It's time that this was found out once for all.
I think he is none other than the peasant whom you have sought to see already. But Jocasta here can tell us best of that.
Jocasta, do you know about this man whom we have sent for? Is he the man he mentions?
Why ask of whom he spoke? Don't give it heed, nor try to keep in mind what has been said. It will be waste labor.
With such clues, I could not fail to bring my birth to light.
I beg you, do not hunt this down. I beg you. If you have any care for your own life, what I am suffering is enough.
Keep up your heart, Jocasta. Though I am proved a slave, thy slave, and though my mother is thy slave, you'll not be shown to be a low lineage.
Or be persuaded by me. I entreated you, do not do this.
I will not be persuaded to let be the chance of finding out the whole thing clearly.
It is because I wish you well that I give you this counsel, and it's the best counsel.
Then the best counsel vexes me. It has for some while since.
Oh, Oedipus, God help you. God keep you from the knowledge of who you are.
Hear someone. Go and fetch the shepherd for me, and let her find her joy in her rich family.
Oh, Oedipus, unhappy Oedipus, that is all I can ever call you, and the last day that I shall ever call you.
Why has the queeness gone, Oedipus, in wild grief rushing from us? I am afraid that trouble will break out of this silence. What will you bring out? At the very least, I'll be waiting to see my lonely sisters. She has all the high-flown dignity of a lady, so perhaps she is ashamed of my poor birth. However, I consider myself a child of fortune, a good fortune, and I will not be dishonored. She's my mother, and the months my brothers have marked me, now as little and now as powerful. Such is my breeding, and I will never betray it by failing to discover the secret of my birth.
If I am a prophet and wise of heart, you shall not fail, Cytheron. By the limitless sky, you shall not to know at tomorrow's full moon that Oedipus honors you as native to him, and mother and nurse at once, and that you are honored in dancing by us, as finding favor in sight of our king, Apollo, to whom we cry, find these things pleasing. Who was it for you, child? One of the long-lived nymphs who lay with Pan, the father who tread the hills? Or was she a bride of Loxias, your mother? The grassy slopes are all of them dear to him, or perhaps Cylene's king, or the Bacchant gods that lives on the tops of the hills.
received you a gift from someone of the Helicon nymphs, with whom he mostly plays.
If someone like myself who never met him may make a guess, I think this is the herdsman whom we were seeking. His old age is consonant with the other, and besides, the men who bring him I recognize as my own servants. You perhaps may bear me in knowledge, since you've seen the man before.
You can be sure I recognize him, for if lies had ever an honest shepherd, this was he.
Sir, from Corinth, I must ask you first. Is this the man you spoke of?
This is he before your eyes.
Old man, look here at me, and tell me what I ask you. Were you ever a servant of King Laius?
I was, no, slave, but he bought in his very own house.
What did you do as work? How did you live?
Most of my life was spent among the flocks.
In what part of the country did you live?
Citeron, and the places near to it.
And somewhere there perhaps you knew this man?
What was his occupation? Who?
This man here. Have you had any dealings with him?
No, not such that I can quickly call to mind.
That is no wonder, master. But I'll make him remember what he does not know. For I know that he well knows the country of Citeron. Now he with 2 flocks, I with 1 kept company for 3 years. Each year half a year, from spring till autumn time, and then winter came. I drove my flocks to our fold home again, and he to Laius' steadings. Well, am I right or not in what I said he did?
You're right, although it's a long time ago.
Do you remember giving me a child to bring up as my foster child?
What's this? What do you ask the question?
Look, old man, here he is. Here's the man who was that child.
That take you. Won't you hold your tongue?
No. Do not find fault with him, old man. Your words are more at fault than his.
Oh, best of masters, how do I give offense?
When you refuse to speak about the child of whom he asks you.
His fatal hours ignored against, without meaning.
If you will not talk to gratify me, you will talk with pain to urge you.
Oh, please, sir, don't hurt an old man.
Here, one of you, twist his hands behind him.
Why? God help me. Why? What do you want to know?
You gave a child to him, the child he asked you of.
I did. I wish I died the day I did.
You will unless you tell me truly.
And I die far worse if I should tell you.
This fellow is bent on more delays, as it would seem.
Oh no, no, I have told you that I gave it.
Where did you get this child from? Was it your own? Or did you get it from another?
Not my own at all. I had it from someone.
What of the citizens? Or from what house?
Master, please, I beg you, master, please don't ask me more.
You're a dead man if I ask you again.
It was one of the children of Laius.
A slave? Or born in wedlock?
Oh God, I'm on the brink of frightful speech.
And I of frightful hearing. But I must hear.
The child was called his child, but she, within, your wife, would tell you best how all this was.
She gave it to you?
Yes, she did, my lord.
To do what with?
Make away with it.
She was so hard. Its mother.
I, through fear of Eva's oracles.
Which?
They said that he should kill his parents.
How is it that you gave it to this old man?
Oh master, I pitied it and thought I could send it off to another country, and this man was from another country. But he saved it for the most terrible troubles. If you are the man he says you are, you're bred to misery.
Oh. They will all come out clearly. Light of the sun, let me look upon you no more after today. I Who first saw the light bred of a match? Accursed and accursed. In my living with him, I lived cursed in my killing.
O generations of men, how can I count you as equal with those who live not at all? What man, what man on earth wins more of happiness than a seeming and after that turning away? Oedipus, you are my pattern of this. Oedipus, you and your fate, helpless Oedipus, whom of all men I envy not at all, inasmuch as he shot his bolt beyond the others and won the prize of happiness complete. O Zeus, and killed and reduced to naught the hook-taloned maid of the riddling speech, standing a tower against death for my land. Hence he was called my king, and hence was honored the highest of all honors, and hence he ruled in the great city of Thebes. But now whose tale is more miserable? Who are the lives with a savager fate? Whose troubles so reverse his life as his? O Oedipus, the famous prince for whom a great have the same both as a father and son sufficed for generation. How, oh how the furrows, plowed by your father, endured to bear you, poor wretch, and hold their peace so long. Time, who sees all, has found you out against your will, judges your marriage accursed, begetter and begot, at one in it. O child of lies, would I had never seen. I weep for you and cry a dirge of lamentation. To speak directly, I drew my breath from you at the first, and so now I lull my mouth to sleep with your name.
O princess always honored by our country, what didst you hear, and now what horror sees? What grief you feel if you are true-born Thebans? Care for the house of Labdacus' sons? Pasner, Easter cannot purge this house. I think we all dare scream such things, it hides such evil shortly will bring forth into the light. Whether they will or not, and troubles her hurt the most when they prove self-inflicted.
What we had known before did not fall short of bitter groanings worth. What's more to tell?
What we had known before did not fall short of bitter Goni's word. What's more to tell?
Unhappy woman, how?
By her own hand. The worst of what was done you cannot know. You did not see the sight. Yet, in so far as I remember it, you heard the end of unlucky queen. When she came raging into the house, she went straight to her management, tearing her hair with both her hands and crying upon Lois long dead. Do you remember, Lois, that night long past which bred a child for us to send you to your death, and leave a mother making children with her son? And then she groaned and cursed the bed it which she brought forth husband by her husband, children by her own child, an infamous double bond. How after that she died, I do not know. For Oedipus distracted us from seeing, he burst upon us, shouting, and we locked him.
As he paced frantically around, begging, as always, give me a sword. I say, to find this wife no wife, this mother's womb, this field of double sowing whence I sprang and where I sowed my children. As he raved, same God showed him the way none of us dare, bellowing terribly and led by some invisible guide the rest of the Tudors. Wrenching the hollow bolts out of their sockets, he changed inside. There we saw his wife, hanging there with a rope around her neck. When he saw her, he cried out fearfully and cut the dangling nose. Then, as she lay, poor woman, on the ground, what happened after was terrible to see. He turned the branch, the gold chase roots fastering her road. Away her, lifting up high, dashed then on his own eyeballs, drinking out such things as they will never see the crime I have committed or had done upon me. Dark eyes, now in the days to come, look on forbidden faces. Do not recognize those who you long for with such imprecation. He struck his eyes again and yet again with the brooch, and the bleeding eyeball gushed and stained his bird, non-sludging, oozing drops, but a black rain and bloody hail pours down. So it has broken, and not on one head, but troubles mixed for husband and for wife. The fortune of the days gone was true, good fortune, but today groans and destruction and death and shame of all hills can be. Name not one is missing.
Is she now in any ease from pain?
He shouted for someone to open the doors and show him to all the men of Thebes. His father's killer. His mother... No, I cannot say the word. It is unholy for he'll cast himself out of the land. He says and not remain to bring a curse upon his house. The curse he called upon it is in proclamation. But he wants for strength and someone to guide him. His sickness is too great to bear. You too will be shown that the bulls are opening. Soon you will see a sight to waken pity, even the horror of it.
This is a terrible sight for men to see. I never found worse. Poor wretch, what madness came upon you? What evil spirit leaped upon your life? To your ill luck a leap beyond man's strength. Indeed, I pity you, but I cannot look at you. Though there's much I want to ask, and much to learn, and much to see, I shudder at the sight of you. Oh, where am I going? Where is my voice borne on the wind, to and fro? Spirit, how far have you sprung? To a terrible place whereof men's ears may not hear, nor their eyes behold it. Darkness! Horror of darkness unfolding. Resistless, unspeakable visitant sped by an ill wind in haste. Madness and stabbing pain in memory of evil deeds I have done. Such misfortunes, it's no wonder if double weighs the burden of your grief. My friend, you are the only steadfast, the one that attends on me. You still stay nursing the blind man. Your care is not unhonest. I can know your faults, although this darkness is my world. Doer of dreadful deeds, how did you dare so far to despite to your own eyes? What spirit urged you to it? It was a Paul, friends, a Paul that brought this bitterness, my sorrows to completion. But the hand that struck me was none but my own. Why should I see whose vision showed me nothing sweet to see? These things are as you say. What can I see to love? What greeting can touch my ears with joy? Take me away in haste, the place out of the way. Take me away, my friends. the greatly miserable, the most accursed, whom God too hates above all men on earth. Unhappy in your mind and your misfortune, would I had never known you. Curse the man who took the bonds from off my legs as I lay in the field. He stole me from death and saved me. No kindly service. Had I died then, I would not be so burdensome to friends. I, too, could have wished it had been so. I would not have come to kill my father and marry my mother infamously. Now I am a godless and child of impurity, begetter in the same seed that created my wretched self. If there is any ill worse than ill, that is the lot of Oedipus. I cannot say your remedy was good. You would be better dead than blind and living. But I have done here was best done. Don't tell me otherwise. Do not give me further counsel. I do not know with what eyes I could look upon my father when I die and go under the earth, nor yet my wretched mother. Those two whom I have done things deserving worse punishment than hanging. Would the sight of the children bred as mine are gladden me? No, not these eyes. Never. In my city, its towers are secret places of the gods. Of this I robbed my miserable self when I commanded all to drive him out. He the criminal since proved by God impure and of the race of lies. To this guilt I bore witness against myself. With what eyes shall I look upon my people? No, if there were a means to choke the fountain of hearing, I would not have stayed my hand from locking up my miserable carcass. Seeing and hearing nothing, it is sweet to keep your thoughts out the range of earth. Citheron, why did you receive me? Why having me received? Did you not kill me straight? And so I had not shown him at my birth, O Oedipus in Corinth, in the house, the old house that I used to call my father's. What fairness you were nursing, and what foulness festered beneath. Now I am found to be a sinner and a son of sinners. Crossroads and hidden clay, oak, and the narrow way at the crossroads that drank my father's blood offered you by my hands. Do you remember still what I did as you looked on? And what I did when I came here? Oh, marriage! Marriage! You bred me in again. When you had bred children of your and showed to men brides, wives, and mothers the foulest deeds that can be in this world of ours. God, it's unfit to say what is unfit to do. I beg of you in God's name, hide me somewhere outside your country. Yes, or kill me, or throw me into the sea, to be forever out of your sight. Approach and deign to touch me for all my wretchedness, and do not fear. No man, but I can bear my evil doom. Here Crayon comes in fit time to perform or give advice in what you ask of us. Crayon is left as sole ruler
in your stead.
Crayon! Crayon! What shall I say to him? How can I justly hope that he will trust me? In what is past, I have been proved towards him an utter liar.
I've come not so that I might laugh at you nor taunt you. Still you are without shame before the fame of men reverence. At least the flame that gives all life, our Lord the Sun, and do not show unveiled to him pollution such as neither land nor holy rain, nor lights of day can welcome be quick and take him in its most decent that only kin should see and hear the troubles of kin.
I beg you, since you've torn me from my dreadful expectations, and have come in the most noble spirit to a man that has used you vilely to a thing for me, I shall speak for your good, not for my own.
Be sure I would have done this had not I wished. First of all, I learned from the God the course of action I should follow.
Drive me from here with all the speed that you can to where I may not hear a human voice.
You need. That would you ask for me.
But his word has been clear. To let the parasite, the sinner, die.
That indeed was said, but in the present need have best discover what we should do.
Will you ask about a man so wretched?
Now, even you will trust the God.
So I command you, beseech you, to her that lies inside the house. Give burial as you would have it. She is yours, and rightly you will perform the rites for her. For me, never let this my father's city have me living a dweller in it. Leave me live in the mountains where Citron is. That's called my mountain, which my mother and father, when they were living, would have made my tongue. So, I read that by their decree who sought indeed to kill me. Yet I know this much. No sickness and no other thing will kill me. I would not have been saved from death if not for some strange evil fate. Well, let my fate go where it will. Graham, you need not care about my sons. They are mad. So they are. They will not lack a livelihood. But my two girls, so sad and pitiful, whose day will never stand apart from mine. And everything I touched, they always shared. Okay, have a thought for them. And most I wish that you might suffer me to touch them and sorrow with them. Oh my Lord, oh true noble Graham, can they really be touching them? As when I saw, what shall I say? Yes, I can hear them sobbing. My two darlings. And Graham has had pity and has sent me what I love most. Am I right?
Right. It was I gave you this because I knew it from old days, and how loved them as I see now.
Bless you for it, Graham. And may God guard you better on your road. He did me. Oh, children, where are you? Come here. Come to my hands. A brother's hand which turned your father's eyes.
Those bright eyes you know once, to what you see. A father seeing nothing, knowing nothing, begetting you from his own source of life. I whip you, cannot see your faces. I whip when I think of the bitterness there will be in your eyes. How you must live before the world. What assemblages in company will you go and not go home in tears instead of sharing the holiday? And when you're ripe for marriage, who will he be the man?
Your tears have had enough of scoop. Now go within the house.
I am a super, so bitter of heart.
In season, all is good.
Do you know on what conditions I obey?
You tell me them, and I shall know them when I hear.
That you shall send me out to live away from Thebes.
That give you must ask of the god.
I am now hated by the gods.
So quickly, you obtain your prayers.
You consented?
What do you not mean? I do not use to say.
Send me away from here.
Go, the children then, and come.
Take them away from me.
Do not seek to be mastered in everything, for the things you mastered did not follow throughout your life.
You that live in my ancestral Thebes, behold this Oedipus, him who knew the famous riddles and was a man most masterful, not a citizen who did not look with envy on his lot. See him now, and see the breakers of misfortune swallow him. Look upon the last day always. Count no mortal happy till he has passed the final limit of his life, secure from pain.
In the tragedy of Thebes, wherein Jocasta and Laius died, Oedipus had his own fate, and all of them is on its down. Shows what can happen for deeds that are unexpected. All of us will go on our own destiny track by ourselves. That may be bad or will be good for us.
Oedipus the king shows that even a good king may have gotten the worst fate among his life track. Oedipus is a living proof where ups and downs really exist, but a person can still define the way of his or her life will go.